So route label configuration, you'll find that there's if you type in the search route label, you'll see there's a configuration route label mechanism, and there's also a status view route label mechanism. This is the configuration panel. Route labels are globally orchestrated. Whenever we say globally orchestrated, we're talking about like an artifact or a thing that is sent to all appliances everywhere, period. You do not get a say in the matter. You configure zones, for instance, they just go everywhere. You configure roles, they are globally orchestrated along with their GPID values. Overlay, all these things are globally orchestrated. Route labels the same way. So you're going to configure a list of route labels. For instance, in this example, we have one called ClearPass, IP SLA. We have an internet one that's built in. You create these route labels, you hit save, and now they are going to be immediately pushed to all appliances. The route label, this whole mechanism only applies to static routes. Well, it can apply indirectly to other routes, but we'll get to that in a little bit later. You'll notice that by default, again, there's one called internet that's in there by default. You can't change it. It's related to local breakout, but you can create up to 100 of these route labels. Now, once you create the route label, you can then use it in a static route. On the top right, where you can see we've created a static route, 1050.00/16, and all the normal stuff that you're accustomed to, right? This is what's called an announce-only route. So it means that you're entering a subnet mask with a 1050.00/16, but there's no next hop and there's no interface. It's just a floating route that we will announce into the fabric or announce to BGP or wherever. But once the packets get to the EdgeConnect, that route doesn't do anything. It's announce only. You can also use this with traditional static routes where you do specify a next hop. When you add or modify a static route, you now have a label selection. And when you click this drop down, you will see the list of route labels that has been previously configured and globally orchestrated. When you look at routes in the route table, in the routes tab, you will also see that there's a new label column. And if a route label has been assigned to a static route, it will show up in the route entry, and you'll actually get a status as to whether or not that route label is in the up or down state. If the route label is in the down state, you might imagine that that's going to take down the static route. It's the whole idea. Like IP SLA, it's pinging things, it's exploring the path to a given prefix. If it works, then we allow the static route to be up and announced. If it doesn't work, then we take the static route down. We don't delete the static route from the table, it will just appear with a down status. The third step is to associate that route label in an IP SLA rule. You can actually do it in either order. You could go create the IP SLA rule and use the route label and then go create the static route. It really doesn't matter. But in this case, we've created the static route, we associate the route label. Now we're going to create the IP SLA rule and associate that IP SLA rule to the static route through the mapping of the route label. So you see down here at the bottom, we've created an IP SLA rule here that's going to ping clearpass.5tuple.net. We're going to use a tunnel. We're going to go across east 1 via the default overlay. We're going to source our ping from the loopback. We're going to ping every second. We're going to keep a 300-second rolling average. The route label that we've associated with this IP SLA rule is called ClearPass. Now what that means is that when this rule goes down, this ClearPass label will go down with it. Now notice here that the route label also is included in the IP SLA summary screen. So just in the IP SLA tab, you now have a route label. Notice here, interestingly, we have Zscaler route labels, Internet, HPSSE, ClearPass. You might ask, like, how did you do this? How do you cause the automation to associate a route label to Zscaler tunnels? I'll show you in a few minutes. We handled all that.